I mean, look, let's just be honest. There's always going to be a difference, right? When you're face to face, you're feeding off one another's energy. You're able to recognize body language and facial tones a little bit better. It's harder to do that virtually. Now, the nature of relationships has changed dramatically over the last few years since the pandemic. So being effective in managing the mentor-mentee relationship virtually is critically important because that's the nature of life now. I mean, we're not always going to have the opportunity to be face to face with someone, especially now when we know that we have the option of doing it virtually. So I don't think the focus should be on the disadvantages of that. It should be on how do I make a virtual relationship as beneficial as possible while also being able to leverage and utilize the times when a mentor-mentee relationship is face-to-face or they're in person together. I think one really important tip for making the virtual relationship as impactful as possible is to establish a return and report type of structure. When a particular tool or tactic is offered by the mentor to go practice, establishing an expectation that when the mentor-mentee meet again, that you want to hear, how to go, what did they try, how it went, what they're going to try to do differently next time. Staying the course around this type of structure really creates a point of data for the mentee that there is an expectation that they should be going out and acting, that they should be taking advice and actually doing something with it. Otherwise, you're just talking for the sake of talking. And so having that return and report structure becomes really important. It also provides the relationship easy talking points, right? We don't come into a relationship and we start the Zoom meeting or the Teams meeting, Microsoft Teams meeting. We go, okay, what do you want to talk about this week? It's like, no. We've got things that you're working on. How is it going? And then the flow of information tends to go from there, and it makes it really easy to continue to have that dialogue.
In-person mentoring, I think, is way more effective. I think virtual mentoring can work, and the way that I would kind of do it myself is to make sure that at least that initial meeting was in person, so that you can kind of build up that rapport with that person, so they kind of really get a feel for who you are and what you do. However, after that, I think you can definitely do the rest of your sessions online or on the phone.
If you have a mentor that you see regularly, then you can have a lot of kind of informal teaching and learning moments if you run into each other in the break room kind of thing and you're going through something difficult. You can just bounce a few questions off. When it's a purely virtual relationship, you have to be much more deliberate about setting up meetings and sharing what you're going through and keeping that conversation open, because it doesn't happen spontaneously the way it does if you see each other regularly.
When you are dealing with anyone in any capacity, face to face, it's the body language and the connection, I think, happens more naturally and far easier than when you do it virtually. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It doesn't mean that doing it virtually cannot be effective. It just requires you to be a little bit more aware, I think, of how the interaction is going. How is a person receiving the feedback that they are giving you, and how are you also reading their body language and understanding what they're saying. So it probably requires you to be a little bit more in tuned, you to be a little bit more aware of the interaction, so that you can be just as effective face to face as you are virtually.